right, so now you may reveal the puzzles.
Reveal the puzzle, guys! Reveal the puzzle time!
Plastic stickers, all right.
Drum roll.
Ah, it's a Pokemon puzzle. I've seen this one before.
It does look pretty round.
Ah, okay, I've not done it.
Drum roll,
Yes.
PLS.
Okay, this is gonna be
Good
such a
call
fast
with
puzzle.
with the round puzzle guess.
Actually, gonna be such a fast puzzle.
Ooh, wow.
Take off
Oh,
the
a round
stickers.
puzzle with
And I
Snorlax, laughing
think
face.
It looks like a Ravensburger.
This
or
looks
Ravensburger,
fast,
rather.
yeah.
This is gonna be like 40 minutes.
The edge might be hardest.
I mean, yeah, the edge is hard, but like... Just...
So I didn't actually see Amelia's guess. I saw she posted, but I can't play it, otherwise everyone will hear it, so... But somebody says she was right. Well, yeah, she's got that knack, hasn't she?
Okay.
All right, so I'm just checking.
No
people who didn't
slowpoke.
register. So
Shame.
I see Eric is there. Eric
That is my spirit
Ellen
animal.
is also there.
Hum looks like 23 div.
Okay, okay, guys, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm getting on my feet already.
My puzzle room. Who is that? Can you just write in the chat your name? Is that Yeva? I'm just going through the list.
So ready.
We'll check everyone.
This is gonna be
Yeah.
very fast.
When you're ready, you can just
Piker,
put it on the
piker.
table in front of you. Then I know that you are ready to go.
At Terra_5 nice one.
It's just after 7. Okay, then I shall do.
Wait, people are opening?
Down. 5, 4,
Pika Pika.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh wait, fucking hell, I was behind because the stream is behind. Everybody was starting already. Fucking BS.
This is really exciting. You don't
Only
often see a lot
5
of
seconds
That's
lost.
actually BS.
competition. Like I know Worlds used them for semis and things like that. But this is gonna be really cool.
Well, actually, they use them. I think
A few seconds behind.
They used.
Should have just listened to the thingy.
World record ruined.
Just forgotten how to put myself
This
on
might
screen.
just be the motivation for speed Mar needed.
Okay. So it's
So much puzzle dust.
Pokemon.
Gotta puzzle them all.
Yeah.
Yep.
So obviously we're familiar with
A bit of stress really goes a long way in keeping you on your toes through the entire thing.
In the Circle of Colors collection, they also have the Sun collection, and also there's Pokemon. So I actually had to ask my daughter about this because she's a big Pokemon fan, and she told me that this big guy in the middle is called Relaxo because he likes
Snorlax.
because he likes to relax. And this pink squishy thing jumping looks like he's bouncing on the
Mar
tongue
is gonna catch em all.
Jigglypuff, apparently.
Nailed it.
So I have no idea. Jim, you probably might be more familiar with this. And we have a dragon, some cute cupcake looking things at the bottom. The border is pretty similar. I mean, flowery in varying positions. But yeah, cute and fun tonight.
No, that's really interesting. And there's a lot of different approaches that people can use on this one, which will be interesting. It's also real easy to over pull in this case. The border edge looks pretty tricky because there's a lot of same colors in a lot of different places all over, and really trying to make that decision early on of am I going to start from the border, am I going to start from the middle, or are you going to try to use a wedge approach? That's sort of the early on questions that you got to ask yourself here. And this is really interesting. In the first couple of minutes or so, this is when all of the flipping and sorting gets set up. Tammy is one of the speed flippers in the U.S. I think she's able to usually get all of the flip done in about a minute 45 or so. But then the decision becomes, how much sorting do you do on top of that? And that's where you see a lot of discrepancy. Is some people will do a big amount of sorting as they're flipping, and so they may not really start putting pieces together until about 3 minutes 30 seconds, 3:45 on the upper end, and then you'll have some people that they will do all of the flipping and then just a little bit of
1
sorting as
minute
they go.
45 for
It
flipping
seems
500
like
pieces is so insane.
just looking around real quick, it looks like Sarkar is doing uh, some additional sorting going through. Um, yeah, a lot of different tactics here. I think that edge is going to be tricky. Um, that blue sky might be a good approach, but it could be a pretty big pull. That's maybe about 80 pieces in there.
Yeah, I mean,
So it'll be
here we can
interesting.
see some really, I mean, the four people we have on the screen right now, Amy from the UK, Anna from Finland, Arkadia's from Poland, and Estrid from Denmark. They've all got different approaches here. Like you can see, I mean, Anna is taking her time to sort piles. Arcadius is even doing more detailed sorting, like even more piles. And then Astrid's pulled out the border, but just pushing it to the side, like just keeping it at the edge, and
Mhm.
Amy doing the full flip, but already starting to build uh, some of the orange dragon. Yeah, so
Yeah. And there's plenty of debate over what's the best starting tactic for these kinds of puzzles. There's one school of thought that is you have to build the edge completely at first, or you have to pull the edge during things.
What's the belly?
Um, it's a little up in the air. If you watch Alejandro or some of the other top speedsters, they might pull the edge, but they won't necessarily build it right out the gate. They may do chunks of it and then pick some other key spots. Like that red on the Charmander sticks out pretty good, so that could be a place to start out and then sort of sunburst away from there as you go through, which is really cool.
but also something really interesting with the circular puzzles is that you have some really obvious middle pieces, and you can see that really clearly. Ireland now from Argentina, she's already got the middle pieces and starting in the center of the image. And as I also really like that when I'm sorting when I'm flipping a circular puzzle, when I see like the inner circle, I'm like, yes, I gotta already pull those ones out. So
It,
here we
it gives
have
you a good little bullseye to start off from.
exactly. I like having some structure, so I like always having the border and having some in the middle, and then I'm always happy when I can kind of connect the middle to the edge.
Mhm.
So here's Aurora from Norway. No, yes, Aurora from Norway, Ireland from Argentina, Benjamin from the UK, and Barrett from Germany.
Oh, great. Yeah, and everybody's off to a pretty solid start here. Um, I know the question everybody likes to ask the chat out the gate. What time do you think people are going to finish here? Um, this is a circular puzzle, and in the past, those tend to be a little bit slower than some of the other, standard standard RAV cuts um, that are rectangular but fast. This could be one of the quicker ones. Catherine Beck is guessing 45 minutes.
All right, here we have Bettina from Germany, Chiara from Italy, Cornelia from Austria, and Danique from the Netherlands.
Oh, great. Yeah, Kiara is definitely one of those top puzzlers to watch. She has a PR of about 37 minutes on a first time one that she hasn't seen before. So this could be one of those blazing ones to see. I think she's trying to do little islands of things before building out from there. Um, and I think Cornelia is doing a little bit of edge work and has some of that Charmander built out. That's good picks out the gate.
So what's the Charmander?
That's the little red dragon, I
Okay.
think, in that bottom left corner.
Okay, so I did this puzzle in 1 hour and 11 minutes and 40 seconds.
Man knows his Pokemon.
Some people guessing 38, 42, 38, 45. We got a thumbs up from from Cornelia. They got that one. It's also interesting to see which people are using box tops versus just sliding the box itself behind into uh, into the bottom. Because what can happen there is you end up looking at a flat image, and if you have kind of awkward lighting, you can get weird glare off of that that can sometimes make it tricky to pick out certain spots in there. But you can run into the same thing if it's tilted. It really depends on what your lighting situation is to pin down what's going to be effective for you.
Here we have Dietmar from Germany, Eleanor from France, and Elodie from France.
Elodie looks like they're going for the border out the gate, which, you know, if you sink the time in early and that gives you a good way to build in, that can be effective. Um, it's always a trade-off of, do you want to burn the time early on the hard thing, or do you want to make it up later working out from it? Let's see. It's also interesting how many people in the EU tend to use brown tables or wooden tables for their puzzling. Um, a lot of times a lot of times there's concern about if it's brown or dark, does that contrast mess with your ability to see some of the pieces clearly in order to keep pace. But these folks are so quick that it may not slow them down at all.
So Amelia has got some really nice islands going. She's got the Pikachu and the Jigglypuff characters and the dragon done, and also these cupcakes. I think that, I mean, that's also where I think I started. I did.
I
Start
have
with the
only
border, but then
practices with
I
a
put
brown
out.
wooden table
I
so
did
far.
start building on, yeah, the more
This man
orangey
just
yellow
gave me a
pieces
realization.
that stood out to me.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's also real important to be able to change tactics if something's not working all that well. Um, you'll notice that some of the fast puzzlers, if they get to a spot where, you know, they're not putting a piece in every 6 seconds or so, they'll move to a different spot on the puzzle and try to make adjustments there, which is really cool. It does look like Amelia's trying to knock out those yellows and reds, even though they're in different spots throughout the puzzle. That's probably a good way to go because it's going to give you good islands to plug in and work off of.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that's what Kiara's also doing. I see the pink and the yellow and the reds pulled out. So on the screen, we have Amelia from Finland, Eric from the Netherlands, and Francisca from Germany.
Jigglypuff.
Looks like Eric is knocking out the Jigglypuff. I think I could be wrong. Is he? It looks like he might be approaching this kind of upside down, or just doing the island chunks, and then he's going to try to place them all at once. Um, which is going to be kind of tricky if it's a little chaotic down in there. It looked like Francisca is one of the folks doing a border build, coming around from the outside.
That's
Now, if you get
Bulbasaur.
the
Bulbasaurus.
whole border squared away, that's going to be about 100 pieces. And even though everybody is looking at different spots, that's a good way to estimate who's in the lead at any moment. Um, but there's always going to be a little give and take. The folks that did extra sorting out the start may be able to accelerate in the back half. And we're kind of reaching the point of the puzzling now where you're out of the initial flip. Hopefully, you're getting your initial plan done and out the gate. So now the question is, what do you work on next? And that's always the hard part in these is, what is the easiest target that you can address in order to keep things moving and keep getting pieces in.
So I'm noticing some quite fast times being predicted. I always had the impression that the circular puzzles are harder than the normal rectangular puzzles. Have we actually seen round puzzles with like finishing times of around 40 minutes? I'm not sure, because I mean you do have a very different piece shape, and I find I love circular puzzles, but I do find the piece shapes quite illogical and yeah, don't really make much sense about where to place them.
Yeah, a lot of people don't practice circle puzzles all that often. For speed puzzling, we do. There are certainly times that are under 40 minutes for those. In Worlds 2023, Alejandro, Sarah Schuler both had sub 40s in their preliminary rounds. So those times do exist for them, but I do think it's a thing where the field is a little more thrown off by it. Because of those awkward shape pieces. It's sort of like whenever you switch from a ribbon cut or a standard cut to random cut, where you have odd shape pieces. A lot of times that can slow the field down on average across the board. Um, one of the brands in the U.S., Cobble Hill, they are known for having random cut pieces all over the board, and those puzzles tend to be slower on average than any standard cut puzzle, just because it's a thing that people don't work with as often, and it's also a little trickier to discern which shape goes where.
Yeah, so here we can see Hannah from Finland, that she has all these character islands
Mhm.
built, and yeah, looks like she's trying to work on uh, the relaxo or snorlax or whatever it's called. So I found that would for me that really slowed me down, because you have like two colors. You have like this creamy top color and the grayish background, and I found that the most challenging part, and it's also the biggest block of solid. So
Yep. And that's the kind of situation where if you're going to approach a huge chunk like that, a lot of times you want to start off by approaching the border lines between the two colors, right? You'll see a lot of puzzlers where they'll see the Snorlax and they're like, got it, I know exactly where all those pieces are, and they'll pull all of them, they'll get them in their hand, and then where do they go? Well, a good approach, start off with an outline somewhere. Like there's that contrast between the belly and then the Snorlax's back, where it goes from that green to that pastel. Try to throw that line in there, or even if it's that outside line of his back versus the outside edge. That is a good way to start being able to box in the pieces a little bit more, so that way you can keep moving.
hmm. So here we have also on the screen Heike from Germany, Ida from Norway, and Ida is puzzling next to Lynn. So we've seen a close up of Lynn later on, but that's fun, puzzling, speed puzzling with friends. And I know sometimes Lynn has puzzled with Celia as well. Celia is also in the course, so we'll might see a third person at their table. But Inga from the Netherlands, so she's actually started with the Snorlax, and yeah, got that big chunk done. And it looks like,
Oh yeah.
so in terms of, yeah, I mean, it's nice to have such a big chunk done. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep Inga on the screen. Oh, sorry. I'm
I
gonna
would
keep, yeah.
yeah, I would certainly keep Inga on the screen. She has a PR time of about 31 and a half minutes. But I think that's on a standard puzzle. So there's a good chance that that she could blitz it today. We're coming up on the 17-minute mark, I think. Um, so it's gonna be tight for her to hit that. But I do think we're going to see some pretty fast times across the board. This might be a case where we see some 37 38s. Um, it'll be really be a question of how much does that border slow people down, and how much do they either build out so that way it's easier to attach, or build down from it quickly.
So here we have Janie from the UK, Jessie from Luxembourg, Portugal, and Johanna. I'm not sure where Johanna is from.
It's also
Yeah, I can't find Johanna at the moment on my on my list. Maybe she was a late registration.
Yeah, Mini Moose makes a good comment here that even though there's a lot of color, a lot of times it's easier to identify sort of the black outline or specific eye shapes or mouth shapes inside of there in order to go through and build them out the best. Also, I agree wholeheartedly that Gengar is the best Pokemon. So that is a correct assessment across the board.
My daughter would disagree with you. She says the best Pokemon is Prima Marina or something like that.
Uh, I your daughter is wrong.
She has
You can
Pokemon posters on her wall.
I I mean I am one acquainted with the 181 original, so um, but she would totally crush me these days. I know nothing about rare candies or anything like that. So
So here we have Yuka from Finland, Katrin from Switzerland, and Kirsty from Finland.
yeah, yeah, and Yuka here has done one of those deep sorts, um, which can really help target things, and is also using a puzzle board there to put in. It looks like the Snorlax back because that's a lot of pieces right there, and being able to quickly go to set all those in one place and drop them in without having to disturb the rest of your puzzle is a really cool call. It's also fun that a lot of these puzzlers, they're keeping all of the pieces relatively close to themselves. They're not necessarily having them so far away that they have to do a lot of standing up and reaching in order to get to them, and that can which can usually eat into a little bit of time.
Yeah, so somebody says Johanna must be from Finland. You're correct. Yes, I do have her on my list actually. Johanna's from Finland, but I just was like blind for a moment.
I worry about the
Yeah,
progress
so
on
this
the
is something we've
Snorlax.
seen Yuka
As once he
do
is more done,
before.
you get
He
to connect
likes to
things
have his
together.
trays and has like the almost like it's almost like he picks what he's going to do last and he puts them on the trays out of the way, and then he uses his table space for the yeah. You can see he's got his piles that he does it very systematically. It's very
Once
interesting.
things do come together, it should speed up.
And you'll see some pairs and teams do a similar tactic where if they're not going to work on the pieces and they know that they don't need them, they'll just put it on a board so that way they can clear a little bit of space.
So, Jim, tell me, how do you come to be a coach of a speed puzzling team? How did that come about?
Um, well, it's sort of a long-winded thing, but my girlfriend Mari loves puzzling, and she would do puzzles, and I would watch her, and it became a thing of like, I want to hang out with you. Maybe if you did it faster, we would get more hangout time. Um, and so it turns out that there was puzzle competitions. Signed up for one of those, and sort of the reverse thing. Instead of her doing less puzzling or getting done faster, it became oh no, this is really exciting. I'm having a blast. This is really cool. I want to keep doing it. Um, and I myself, I get more joy out of watching the process and doing the analysis of the puzzling more than actually doing it myself. So I end up taking this sort of like eye in the sky role and doing some of the coaching and things like that. Because there's a lot of things whenever you're starting out, you don't necessarily notice about your own puzzling that if you have somebody else kind of go, hey, why are you flipping the pieces on top of your pile
Oh,
rather
there
than
we
spreading
go.
them out a little bit? That goes a long way. Or
That was
sometimes you
some
don't
good
notice
pieces.
that whenever you're switching hands from piece to piece, a lot of times, beginning puzzlers, they'll use their right hand to pick up a piece, they'll hand it to their left hand to transfer where they want to go, and then they'll switch it back to their right hand to place it somewhere. And so you end up doing 3 different transfers in order to move one piece. And so
Mm.
there's a couple of ways that you can tweak that to make it a little more efficient. Um, because it never seems like a whole lot, but if you add up, half a second intervals over 500 pieces, that ends up being several minutes that you can cut down pretty quickly.
That's really interesting. I'll just
Yeah,
mention.
Catherine Beck, she calls me. I'm sometimes known as the side piece. Um,
The side piece, I like that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we just had on the screen just a moment ago, we had Christina from Denmark, Leah from Germany, and Lynn from Norway. We now have Lynn from Belgium, Madara from Latvia, and Margaret from Germany. Jim, it's interesting what you say about transferring the piece. So there was a time when I was focusing on using two hands and trying to also pick up a piece with my left and place it with my left. And then I stopped focusing on that and I kind of went back to my old habit. And then I found that I would pick pieces up with my left and I would see where it would be placed and then I would put it to my right hand and then I would place it with my right hand. And then I became conscious of this. I was like, oh, hang on. I could have just placed it with my left, but I'm just so in the habit in my daily life of doing, writing or whatever with my right hand that I was transferring it. And I'm thinking, okay, how many times do I do that? If I do that like 50 times, maybe that's like wasting 2 seconds each time. That I don't know, maybe I'm losing like 2 minutes or so just like picking something up with my left and then putting it to my right before placing it. So yeah, I think that's a good point about often you need somebody else to point that out where these moments where you could save a bit of time and become conscious of that.
yeah. There's sort of 3 factors that you want to be thinking about whenever you're building up your speed. And one is just raw mechanical speed. Like, am I physically moving fast enough to be picking up pieces and placing them? And then on the other hand, you have sort of the strategy sense, right? Am I approaching this the best way possible? Am I over pulling? Am I under pulling pieces? Um, am I going to do the board? Am I not going to do the board? Like, what's the best approach? And then you have this other factor is just the general mentality, right? Because a lot of times you don't realize if you're slowing yourself down, or you can reach a point midway through a puzzle where it feels like a slog and you're not sure what to do next. And that's where if you sort of take a couple of bits of advice from track and field, where it's about you and the time, and you want to keep your own pace and keep moving, a lot of times that can help kick you into gear. Even if it's a really tough puzzle, one of the ways that you want to go into there is go, okay, I'm just going to do this much, and then I can move on to the next thing. I'm going to do this much and move on to the next one, and try to keep that pace rather than getting bogged down and feeling slow.
All right, so we just had the two Marias a moment ago, Maria from Slovakia and Maria from Sweden, as well as Menon from Belgium on the screen. Now we have Mariana from Portugal, who's had an amazing month of June. She participated in the UK, then she was in Spain, made it onto the podium in pairs, and then in Portugal, clean sweep, first in individual, first in pairs, first in teams. So an amazing uh, speed puzzling month for Mariana. We see she has also done a significant lot. So if we compare, Kiara's done all the sky and the characters within the sky, as well as the relaxo. Mariana has done more of the bottom half, so filling in the gaps of the yeah, grassy
Yeah,
area.
it looks like almost that they've done the inverse approach from each other, which is really cool.
Mm.
Um,
Like if you take
and
Mariana's and Kiara's, then you just need to
yeah,
add the border and you're done.
yeah, just stitch them together real quick. And this is part of what I was saying about different puzzlers, different colors will jump out to them a little bit, and that kind of dictates the initial approach that they might have. And so there's all sorts of the I tell people the puzzle jury is out on what is the 100% perfect best way to do a puzzle. Um, but a lot of times you'll end up doing the same thing just in slightly different orders.
Yes, so here we also have Eva from Latvia, Patrick from Sweden. So Patrick has a really wide table, and he's using that to his advantage to have really clean piles, but without piling them up, just they're still
Mhm.
all visible, all still the right side up, just working at it away logically. So we still haven't got through everyone. We're at 28 minutes now.
And it looks like Patrick has a puzzle mascot. More and more puzzlers have mascots or like various totems that they'll put on the table. Sort of the project managers as you go through, uh, which is really fun.
So here's so on the screen I've kept Kiara and Inga and Mariana there since they're all quite far ahead. Although it looks like it looks like Mariana is ahead of Inga. It's different. I mean, they've all done a significant lot, but they've all done different sections. I mean, even
Yeah,
Inga is working more in the middle. So
yeah,
Kiara, Inga, and Mariana are at the top. Then I have Paulina. Uh, I can't see where Paulina is from. We have Rihards from Latvia and Rika from Finland. Oh, sorry,
yeah,
Landrau. Landrau, I think that is from France. Yeah, Pauline from France.
yeah. I think looking at this, Mariana might be in the lead. It looks like she has a little bit more of the sky put together than Kiara has some of that ground bits, um, which is really fun.
So here's Sandra from Germany, Saka from Czech Republic, and Celia from Norway. Okay, so Danielle is telling me I need to check on Amelia.
Hmm.
I'm just going to put Inga away for the moment and add to the screen Amelia. Oh, okay. Amelia is only has the border left and filling in the gap of the
Oh wow.
relaxo.
We might be seeing like a sub 35 from Amelia if that's the case. Um,
Okay, yeah, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to my messages. And she's like, look at Amelia. Go, Amelia. You have to put Amelia on the screen. Okay, I got it. Sorry, I was distracted. So, who have we not seen yet? We haven't seen Siobhan from Ireland or Smaranda from Romania. So we just
yeah,
crossed 30 minutes. Yeah, maybe it is. Sub 40 is possible.
I hope you don't mind, Michelle. Emilia is my coach, so I like to watch her.
Yeah.
When
No, that's good. Thanks for telling me. Yes, and if I get distracted again, you can just tell me on the mic. Okay, so it looks like Amelia in the lead. Yeah, but
by a pretty decent margin there. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's just the border and then a little bit of that Snorlax and some cleanup on there. So Amelia might have this on lock unless Mariana and Kiara really pull some pieces out of the hat here.
here's Stefan from Austria, Tammy from the US, and Tanya from Germany. Yeah, and you see Amelia, she really has like this flow. She always has her pieces to the left.
Mm.
She doesn't have them all spread out. I mean, she always uses the kitchen bench, which is a narrow space, so she can't have pieces above the top and on the sides, and she just sways from side to side in this rhythm.
And that's a solid way to sort of keep pace and make sure that if you're starting to fall behind or if you're getting stuck, you can move to the next thing as soon as
Emilia is
possible.
going so fast.
A lot of puzzlers
Very
also listen to
impressive.
music. You'll see various people have playlists that sort of trigger at certain times to kick them into the next gear.
Here we have Taya from Finland and Tekla from Hungary. So if Tekla's background looks familiar, it's because she's at the studio of Vicky. So Vicky, the one who I mentioned before, that she with such gusto ripped open her puzzle pieces everywhere. She has a YouTube studio, and tonight tonight Tekla is speed puzzling at that location.
Yeah. It looks like Tekla there has lines up to sort of simulate official borders in preparation for Worlds. I would imagine is what those extra lines are.
So here we have Victor and his super quick hands. Victor from Poland, who came second last week, and Zana. So we've reached the end of the list. So about 56 participants tonight. Zana from Latvia.
Yeah, it is fun to see some puzzlers have this like frantic energy of moving around versus some of the puzzlers that are more precision based, where they'll just toss one in one at a time. Victor looks like one of those that very similar to Alejandro, just always shifting around and moving a little bit, trying to get the pieces. Amelia just did a big sweep, getting the rest of those edges closer to her, so that way she can pick them up. That's always a solid move. You want to be able to reach the pieces easily, so that way you can throw them in. It's easy in the heat of the moment to forget where you've set some of those and sort of run back and forth between where you're at. Yeah, she might be able to get under 35 minutes here, which is really exciting. Inga's looking great on her puzzle. Made some serious headway in that bottom chunk, and that sky probably won't be too bad for her since she's already put that Jigglypuff Island
too
in
many
order to
people.
build out from there.
So what we can see here is that the 6 on the screen, none of them have done the border yet.
Hmm. Yeah, and that makes sense to me, because sort of like what we were mentioning, that border has so many samey looking colors and shapes in so many different places that you'll end up losing a lot of time trying to brute force that thing all together versus being able to build out, and then you have a little more information in order to stick those border pieces in. And just yeah, I'm almost certain that it takes a lot of practice to get to this kind of speed. There's very few people that out the gate are throwing sub 40-minute times on their puzzles. There's always a lot of little optimizations that you make just to get your mechanical speed down, and then there's the strategy on top of it in order to really bring down your times.
Okay, so Amelia has about 20 pieces left, just the
Oh
border.
wow. Yeah, that's going to be a really excellent time for her. It might be. I'm not sure if she's seen this kind of puzzle, this one in particular before, but this might be a PR for her if it's the first time. Kiara trying to dig through some of those greens. And those can be a little tricky because you also have a split there of that upper line versus that lower line, and you can get a little lost in that pretty easily.
Yeah, so it looks like uh, I think second is Inga is running for second, only with the sky.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's hard to tell because the sky is probably another 30 pieces, and then the border's another 30 pieces. So yeah, it's like there's a big gap. So Amelia, last pieces. This is your night.
You can do it. We believe in you. Let's go.
Woo! Well done, Amelia. Oh, amazing. Yes, and she's
Huzzah!
excellent. I mean, so many of us have benefited from Amelia's videos with her
Mhm.
tips and strategies. She's also she's also doing a coaching program. Yeah, that's really exciting that Amelia, first time on the podium tonight and with such a convincing win as well.
Oh yeah, totally crushed that one. That was fantastic. What was her time on that? It was 36 in a little bit, right?
38. Yeah, so we started like 1 minute
Okay.
later.
Okay.
So about 37.
Okay. So for reference, that's about a 13.5 pieces per minute pace. So at some point, if those of you at home wanna give that a shot, just put out 100 pieces of a puzzle, line them up at do it once and set everything up, and then just see if you can put 13 of those together in 1 minute, back to back to back to back, and that's the pace that you're shooting for in order to catch up to that.
Okay, Victor has the working on the border.
Hmm.
Okay, so I think for second place, it's between Victor and Inga. Okay, Inga's
Yeah,
starting on the border.
it's gonna be a close race into here. Um, and a lot of these top puzzlers, they know that the top times are usually sub 40, right around the low 40s for fast puzzles, and so they've got to be feeling that heat of go 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 go, somebody else is going to finish before me, and that little bit of adrenaline can sort of either spur you to go a little faster or give you a little bit of a shake, and give you some misplace. So you always want to have that little bit of control going in. Oh yeah, Catherine Beck, absolutely. A lot of times, we folks don't include in the initial flip time in terms of the pieces per minute. So you'll see folks that can do, you know, like 20 to 25 pieces in 1 minute in a really really good run, but the average ends up being a little lower because of that initial flip time. Oh, this is gonna be a close one. Mariana with a big sweep. She has a lot of those, a lot of sky left, and some of that edge start putting in.
So it's 39 minutes and 50 seconds, so almost 40 minutes.
Mm.
But yeah, amazing progress here. I'm really impressed that so many. I mean, right now we have so many who's just coming up. I mean, I think within 45 minutes we're going to see a lot more finishes.
Yeah. Well, and what we're seeing is that across the board, the times are getting tighter at the top. It used to be that if you had, the times between first through 10th place were about a minute difference across the board. It would be like a 10-minute run. But now it's starting to get much smaller, where the times between first through 10th place are closer to 5 minutes in some of these. Um, so it's getting tighter at the top across the board. So some of those small decisions end up adding up over the long run, which is really exciting.
So here we see two very different approaches. Inga is rotating the puzzle one piece at a time. She's finding the one piece that fits in that spot, rotating, and next keep on going. Victor's hands are flying all over the page, the place, trying to find which piece fits on the opposite side. So
Yep.
Victor, 10 pieces left. Looks like Victor has caught up. Victor, 10 pieces. Inga, 20.
Yeah. Victor using both of his hands, flying from one side to the other.
Yeah, see, his sister mentioned that his hands look like flies buzzing around. They're just so quick, such quick reactive time.
Mhm. Yeah. And it also looks like Inga is doing a little bit of turning the puzzle, trying to find the piece that goes in that spot, rather than looking in multiple spots and finding a handful of pieces all at once. And that's kind of what Victor's doing. He's picking it up and he's going, "This has to go in if I pick it up," and he's putting it down in a spot. And that's you'll see that in a lot of acceleration towards the end for puzzlers, where they're down to like the last 30 pieces or so. They're just like, if I pick it up, it has to go in.
And Victor claims the second spot. Congratulations, Victor. So, second week running, second place with a time of 42 minutes. And
Well done.
Excellent. Okay, so on the screen now we have Chiara, Mariana, and there goes Inga. Well done. Just 1 minute behind Victor.
There
So
we are.
So Inga claims third spot. So Inga has been on the podium several times. Though, well done. Oh, let's check in with Hannah.
No, this is a really exciting round across just across the field. Definitely one of the speedier puzzles. And I know a lot of these other competitors might start feeling that little bit of fatigue. Usually that'll kick in, around the 30-minute mark where you start losing focus. So being able to practice that long-term play is pretty important. So that way you don't lose pace towards the end.
Uh,
Tobias makes a great point that on that border, the flowers have an orientation, and that's the kind of thing where Tobias is one of the top one of the top puzzlers in the world. Um, one of the great tricks is to start being able to pick out what is the orientation of certain shapes, so that way you can either mentally flip that piece to be in the right way, or as you pick it up, put it in the right way, so that way you can throw it in exactly where it needs to go without having to think about it too much. It helps you from getting too terribly lost whenever you're trying to go through it.
Okay, so Chiara is now onto the border and Mariana as well. Mariana 15 pieces, Chiara 30.
Oh yeah. And this is going to be another blitz down into the end for those two. Uh, did did Astrid hit a done there? Michelle, we might have lost your audio there for a second.
Sorry, I took a drink and I forgot to turn it back on again. Yeah, so Astrid, thanks for accidentally pressing that done message, because now I have you on the screen, and I did have you off my radar for some moments. Okay, Mariana,
I'll do
go.
it.
Okay, Mariana, fourth place. Congratulations.
Well done. Continuing a streak of high profile wins and being able to get these times down in the sub 45 range, that's all on the, like, you know, qualifying for world's pace inside of there, shooting for the top, that top tier. These are definitely people to watch going into worlds. It's absolutely fabulous.
So we also have Danica not far behind. So next is Chiara. Then
Kiara's looking pretty good.
Saka has started work on the border. Astrid has done the border but is just filling in the sky. And Danica still has some gaps in the middle and the border left to go.
And Danica is going into stand up mode, beast mode activated. Going to try to finish this up as quickly as possible. Astrid leading over the top of this puzzle, trying to get things in. It's a little bit of a stretch trying to do some of those top pieces, and this is where sometimes flipping the puzzle upside down can make it easier to access those. But not all puzzlers are super comfortable with working upside down, and you'll see a lot of times that puzzlers have a preference for orientation, and that can affect things.
All right, so we have two more finishes. So this time Astrid, for real, not by accident, I did complete Astrid. So at 47 minutes, and Chiara shortly.
Yeah, Chiara's coming in.
So it looks like Saka will. So let's say first Emilia, second Victor, third Inga, fourth Astrid, ninth, fourth Mariana, then fifth Astrid, and sixth Kiara. Oh, because Astrid thought she had done. She completely forgot about the sky, and she thought she was done.
Oh, I think
Well done, Saka.
Saka. Yeah, well done. Oh, this is exciting.
So there's so many. I mean, we're not even at 50 minutes yet. We've already had like 8 or so people finish. I'm gonna check in on Elodie.
There's there's Patrick on screen doing a solid job. I think that sort's working out well for him to keep up a good pace and keep charging through. May have over sorted a little bit to cost some time, but still doing really well. Looks like Dominique charging through, sliding the pieces around, yes, getting them closer so that way she doesn't have to reach over top of the puzzle every time, making it a little bit more easy to access.
So remember, this is a round puzzle. You can just rotate it. You don't need to, if you only got the sky left, you don't need to be leaning over the picture. You
Yep.
just rotate it closer to you.
Mini Moose. Oh, Hannah.
Well done, Hannah. And yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, Hannah may not have hit the PR today, but being able to consistently get under 50 minutes on 500 puzzles, that's what you always want to be working towards. A thing to think about if you're new to speed puzzling or in general is you always want to be getting your average down. There's going to be some puzzles that are a little harder, a little easier that you have a good time with, but as long as you're getting that consistency down, that's whenever you're going to start feeling and seeing that you're a faster and faster puzzler.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with Hannah. She's consistent. I mean, up until now, she was always in the top 5. So this is actually her worst placing so far, but it's like it's amazing. I mean, in top 10. So she is just consistently up there. So she wasn't able to go to the Finnish nationals due to other commitments, but she started like seriously speed puzzling this year, and I think we're going to see great things from Hannah at Worlds.
Yeah. Well, and if a bad day is in the top 10, like that's kind of a great situation to have. Yeah, Amelia, that's one of the that's a great way to get revenge is whenever somebody says that you're being too slow, you give them the puzzle and say, "All right, prove that it can be done faster," and that kind of turns the tables a little bit.
Yeah, so Hannah got 8th. So to say that the worst position so far was 8th, I mean, I think that's incredible. I mean, and also just consistently at that high level. She's definitely one of the, I think she's going to be one of the most exciting puzzles to watch at the Worlds.
Yeah. Well, we can probably ask her, if you don't do a lot of circular puzzles, you can get thrown off by that pretty easily, and that can eat, anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes just on getting comfortable with that different kind of cut. You'll see it a lot of times whenever people have sort of a brand preference. They're way faster on some of those than they are on ones that they're not as comfortable with, just because the piece feels a little bit different or the way that it fits is a little more awkward. It's there's a lot of things that can eat into your time a little bit, and that's a-okay. The big thing is you versus the clock and keep getting that down just a little bit more.
So I think we have a little break for a moment, so I'd like to ask Amelia to join us.
Here I am.
There you are. So you had a winning streak before, then you when you had your winner chicken dinner, and then that paused for a while, and now you're back on top. So what happened?
Well, obviously, what happened with my winner on a chicken dinner was the fact that we had this online competition in Finland, and speed puzzling wasn't that popular here. So I was able to be the best from the very beginning, and then other people came up and no more chicken for me. But this was actually the only time that because I sometimes guess the puzzle correctly, but usually it doesn't really help me, even though I know the picture beforehand, because the pieces it's so much different when you actually have the pieces. But this puzzle I actually happen to have in my collection, so obviously I guess this. So I did this this week and practice, kind of like see what kind of strategy would work with this. I was a little bit afraid for like all the great speed puzzlers here, especially for my teammate Hannah, because this is actually the one in my collection is her second copy of this puzzle. So I knew a lot of people have done this before. Also, I was checking myspeedpuzzling.com and saw the people who are participating having time on this. So yeah, it was nerve wracking, but chicken today.
Yeah, and yeah, so you are familiar with this puzzle. How do you like circular puzzles in general?
Oh, I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible because I don't understand kind of like the angles. So especially with this puzzle, when I do these puzzle islands, like what is this green thing with the onion on top of it, Bulbasaur or something like that. So when I do it, I tend to keep it that the pieces kind of line nicely straight. But obviously, when they're placed correctly on the puzzle, they actually might be in like a 45 degrees or something like that. So I'm so stuck in my mind that it's really hard for me to connect my puzzle islands. And when I start doing it too late, it gets a bit tricky because I actually have to kind of like lift the whole island that it will go without breaking everything.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky to build out in circular puzzles because it's real easy to block the box a little bit, where you end up with a bunch of pieces around your island,
Yeah.
and then you have to readjust it a little bit, which is really cool. Um, whenever you're approaching a totally different puzzle for the first time, yeah, like like a circular kind of thing, do you have a panic that goes through your head at first where you're like, "Oh no, what do I do?" Or is it sort of like, "Great, let's hit it." Like what's the kind of feeling that you have whenever you see something totally crazy?
I would say I'm quite like mentally tough. And for those who don't know, I used to play in Finnish national team, and I've done a lot of like sports psychology, and I'm practicing like the mental side. So nowadays, no matter what's going in my mind, even if it's that panic, I kind of let it go and have it as a separate thought, just renting a space out of my brain. So in that way, I don't really panic. Obviously, in the worlds, I was in the classification round that had the panorama puzzle, which was like what is
Yeah, that's a
going
beast.
on. So sure, but I think like everybody, even the best of the best in the world, also kind of like panic. So I think people need to understand it's a little bit misconception that nobody would have any like panic or negative feelings. It's part of the package. You just need to kind of like work through it.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, if it's something that's really wild, just have a half a second to take a breath and then dive in, because that's gonna save you a little bit more time than trying to brute force your way into not panicking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can always at least sort. I tell people that even though it feels like waste of time, and it kind of is to kind of like sort for when you don't want to sort, but always keep doing at least something. So you will keep your body and mind going at least, so you don't get completely stuck. That's like the worst case scenario, and it's really hard to get over it.
Yeah, puzzling with intention is always huge, and you'll see that with a lot of beginner puzzlers. They kind of shift pieces around whenever they're not sure what to do, and they're just like, what if I just move all these and rearrange them? Always have a purpose to what you're doing, even if it's a very minor one. That's going to help you get up to speed and maybe start throwing down times like Amelia has, which is really great.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really great to see you, Amelia. I've personally benefited so much from your videos, and I recommend them to all the speed puzzles. If you're not following Amelia yet, do it. Watch her videos specifically about strategies for training for the World Championships. Um, yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of fun ones in there, but so many interesting videos. And yeah, I'm really happy to see you at the top of our podium today. And yeah, enjoy the rest
Yeah,
of your evening.
thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right, so
And
we've had a few more finishes. So after Hannah 8th, Elodie 9th, Tekla 10th, Danique 11th, Patrick 12th, Rika 13th, Francisca 14th, Cornelia 15th, Tammy 16th, and Katrin 17th at 58 minutes.
yeah, and that's all under an hour, which is important to remind folks, right? Like you're getting these times for this circular puzzle that are all under an hour. Um, so if you're shooting for some of those for like getting into the top 20, that's kind of the cutoff that you want to start aiming for, is getting your average down under an hour, so that way you can catch up to some of these folks. And it looks like we're close to another finisher here. Oh, yep. There's Tana.
So Tanya finishes,
Mhm.
and Arcadius moments away, just 5 pieces to go. So on the screen right now we have Arcadius, Anna, Rihards, Siobhan, and Barrett. And Stefan is has the border to go. So it looks like Stefan might be the next finisher. Well done, Arcadius.
Yeah, this is exciting. You're starting to see uh, a lot of folks moving into that border region, um, sort of saving that for last
That's the
and building
dog.
up on it.
Okay, so Victor.
Hi.
Hi, Victor. Wow, we see each other again. yeah,
Yes, unexpectedly.
E.
yeah, and this is a congratulations on second place, and on a completely different puzzle. So completely different
Not that
to
many
last
pieces
week's
left.
landscape image.
Yeah, and in this one there was also
Mia,
kind of a lot
please.
of like the same patch of color, which is not my strength necessarily, but it was a lot of busyness as well. So
Oh,
not
this
that bad.
strange one.
And I also done it before, like Emilia.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean it has. This has been released in Europe, but this hasn't been used. Hasn't been launched yet in America. So Tammy might be the first American to have this puzzle. Yeah. So when I was choosing circular puzzles, of course, I think it's important to do circular puzzles because we might see them at the World
Michi,
Championships and we've seen
please.
them at some of the
You're being
competitions.
annoying.
But yeah, it's really hard because they're so popular, especially the circles of colors. It is harder to find one that's not everybody has done, but I knew some people had done this one. And do you remember what your time was when you did it before?
As far as I can remember, it was something around 48. I can check real quick. Let me see, 48, 48. Yeah, but I think it was like, yeah, 48, 17. Yeah. And fun fact, I was 4 seconds slower than my
To the
current
edge.
partner.
Oh
on
wait,
this
we're
one.
missing one piece.
So in this time you were 42 minutes. So a 5 minute increase. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was below 42 because I had my my timer here. But yeah, something around 42. I didn't expect that, honestly, because 48 was really good for me for this kind of puzzle. Uh, but then I'm not complaining.
Vale.
Well, no, and you'll a lot of times, or at least in the past, even the worlds in the preliminary rounds, they'll have puzzles that some people have seen before.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a fact of life that people are going to run into, which is really cool. And if it kind of works out where usually if someone has seen the puzzle before, there's about a 10
Doesn't
to
listen
20%
to me. When she
kind of
wants to
increase
bark, she
that they
barks.
get a bump on, which is really great.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you though. How much caffeine do you drink before puzzling? Because your hands are moving around all over the place. I assume you have to be like 3 liters in on just a pure coffee.
Honestly, this might shock some of people, but I think in my life I have never drank coffee. I am totally caffeine free in that regard. I don't know. I honestly, I remember when it was the first time I was
Ay,
watching
Mia.
puzzle videos about
Please.
the worlds. I was looking at Alejandro and I was like, why people say it is fast? Like, I think I can do this, but I couldn't like solve the puzzle as fast as he can, but I can move as fast. So I don't know if there is a correlation necessarily, but I don't know.
Well, it certainly has a factor, right? Like coming in second twice in a row, like that mechanical speed is a huge part of being a great puzzler. So you're well on your way, if not already there.
Uh, there's one thing that I learned after the last Eurojam, because in that puzzle, when we had the sky and the mountain, I realized something that I didn't know like for 6 months before. That when we think about it, because I can move my hands so fast, then I can do sorting by piece shape very fast. So it is more like beneficial for me because I can move hands so fast to do it faster than other people because sometimes I don't know you can start whenever you want to with piece sort but I can start very fast because it just like it doesn't really matter for me if I spend like 30 seconds on it.
No, that's being able to move that quickly and set yourself up for that kind of advantage. That's huge. A lot of people they'll end up eating close to 2 to 3 minutes if there's a whole bunch of pieces that they have to like rotate into one spot and line up and everything. Do you know about how fast you can like flip and sort everything?
It is very slow. I don't know why because my pair partner was really trying to get as fast as possible with the flipping and we were kind of trying together to do it and she's always faster like you if you look at her she's like looking maybe the same speed but she's always like 30 seconds faster with flipping than me. I don't know what is it. I guess maybe it's something when you have like let's say 100 pieces and they are on top of each other, then I have difficulty with like with I flip something to not flip anything like that is near to this.
Oh, do like the multi-car flip over?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is chaos for me because I try to do it so fast that it's like flying everywhere. So uh, I often has to like slow myself when I am flipping because it's really not efficient. Because in my Polish competition when we did this,
This is a pink.
we had a different brand of puzzles. With Ravensburger is it's okay because they're very heavy in hand. But the ones from our competition were really light. So when I flipped like 5 pieces, then 10 just went off to the
Oh
floor.
no.
Yeah,
Oh
so
man.
this is the practice that I think I needed to have.
I just have one more question, Victor. Like, do you have such fast hands, and like, do you have another hobby that involves such
Ah,
fast hand movement, or do you have like in your work, in your work? Is
Stop
there
it.
something that you do that you have like this,
Oh my god.
just this hand agility, or do you only notice this in speed puzzling that it comes that it's useful?